Hello, you guys. You're now tuned in to the Millionaire Millennial. I'm your host, Stack Banks, and I just got done listening to the Gary Cardone podcast or YouTube channel. I'm right now, this is technically the 10th show of the second season. So I decided to try if we could do the YouTube live stream, and then hopefully we can upload this later on the YouTube as a full video. I'm not sure if I'll be able to or not. This is the first time doing it, so there might be a bit of a learning curve, but just wanted to go over a few things. Number one, I like to bring you guys as much value as possible within a short amount of time, typically about 20 minutes or so. So this won't be long format, but one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about exactly, or maybe something that is something that's you guys maybe want to know more specifically, not exactly, is why I talk about cryptocurrencies, why I talk about gold or silver or any commodity like oil, or why I talk about the stock market or home prices or the S&P, anything like that, and why that or how that relates to um, the price of Bitcoin or crypto as a whole. Okay. So a lot of people, and maybe not a lot of people, but there's a significant portion, excuse me, of the audience out there or people who are involved in investing or crypto trading or whatever who don't really understand the fundamentals of investing as a whole and what that means. Right. So there's a lot of investors who have been buying different assets for a long time, right? So you look at the um S&P, right? Or you look at Wall Street, BlackRock, entities like that. These guys have been around, maybe not necessarily BlackRock, but there's a lot of what they're known as institutional investors. They've been around for a long time. These mutual funds and places, these these places, teachers unions, maybe your parents, your mom and dad, whoever, if you're a millennial, your grandparents, whoever, people of an older generation, where their retirement funds are, maybe where they've parked money, or where the company that they've worked for has put money, or maybe that money's managed by a firm. So over time, a lot of these institutions have you know, you're talking 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of managing Americans' retirement accounts. They've become huge. And a lot of them will park their money in typically the stock market, sometimes real estate and commodities, different things, stocks, bonds, different asset classes. But most millennials who don't know much about those asset classes, right, or those businesses, but they do know a lot about Bitcoin and the different altcoins and different blockchains and things, and are more invested in that, wonder why they experience the volatility that they see in a lot. And I can't speak to all the altcoins, or excuse my swearing, shit coins, all the meme coins, whatever, but it is something that it is a reality. Okay. It exists there. A lot of what you guys experience in those crypto markets is based on investor sentiment that you see not only reflected in those coins specifically, but typically overall with Bitcoin as a whole, because that's typically the landing point for most people when they get into crypto. The first crypto they buy is Bitcoin. The majority of their crypto holdings are in Bitcoin, and I think it's the one that most people have come to trust and understand. And there's people who have gone beyond that, but most have not. Most people are just getting their foot wet with or their feet wet, excuse me, with Bitcoin and that blockchain and just getting comfortable with even holding it. So a lot of what you see in the Bitcoin price is not what I believe to be reflected as the actual value of Bitcoin itself. What you see is investor sentiment, and that can change day to day. And we're going to talk about some of those things and why certain assets or how certain assets function as hedges. Some people use them as hedges against certain things like gold, silver. Most people will buy gold and silver and use it as a hedge against inflation, right? Um, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency being the modern digital gold, if you will, right? There's a lot of younger generations who will actually hold it with that understanding or that hope in mind. And that's not necessarily a bad thing to do. And now, let me preface all of this. This is not, once again, financial advice. I say this every episode. This is financial education. This is something for you guys to get started doing your own research with, but it's almost like a cheat sheet, right? If I can give you just a little bit of knowledge and value off the top, and that will allow you to have somewhat of an understanding of the different mindsets that different investors have or different um, entities have, because not every actor that is in a financial market is someone who is an investor, right? You like look at the stock market, right? There are plenty of companies and they are actors in this space that buy their own stock back, but typically more often than not, the company, their stock is out on the open market. They might hold a certain amount for sure, but the they release the stock for it to be sold and held by the public or by these funds at large. So a lot of the price is determined by the people in the funds, and a lot of it is determined by what does the company do. And sometimes those wires get crossed, and there's opportunity in the market for different people, bulls, bears, whoever. And so each person is going to have a different understanding of the market, an idea of the market, the economics, the metrics behind each market, each company, or maybe they don't at all. Maybe it's just something they heard in the wind or a hunch or a feeling. There's a lot of that that goes on. But for you as my listeners, which chat's at 0 at the moment, which is fine. You go up onto the YouTube channel and you guys who didn't tune in live will actually be able to get value from this later on. But it will hopefully allow you guys to figure out what type of investor are you at any given moment in time? What is the market doing? Which markets are doing what, right? So in Gary Cardone's podcast earlier today, he had touched on it and he had talked about Bitcoin and all the commodities that most people park money into and the financial markets that money moves in and out of. None of it would exist or happen without crude oil, right? And so he will look at markers, and I do too, but a lot of guys do, and they look at what's the cost of crude oil per barrel, right? And some people who are commodities traders will hedge their bets in the markets on oil. Some do it, in different commodities, wheat, whatever. I mean, you can pick. There's literally, I think, like I forget how many commodities. I think that's about 1,000, something like that, out there. Um, but these are all just investment vehicles for most people. So you have commodities, you have traditional stocks, you have bonds, you now have crypto, and then you have silver and gold. And then, of course, you have, I wouldn't call them hard assets necessarily, but different things other people put money into, guns, tools, stuff like that, stuff that is not, um, how would you put it? It's not a financial vehicle, but maybe if you're a prepper or something like that, you might put more stock into things like that, right? If you are hedging your bet against end times, or if that's what you're looking at, and you're looking at the world and going, oh, the world's going to pot, I'm buying guns, and I'm a prepper and all that. And I'm not saying don't do this, or these aren't good ideas, because you that's its own discussion. And I think that's a that's a conversation that's up to each individual, right? But if we're just talking finances at the moment, and what people typically are buying and selling, it's one of those things. And it's funny, I'm not necessarily a great magnet for attention more often than not, uh in the moment. So I guess that's shame on me. It's funny, Gary Cardone said the same thing, but um he's actually probably going to be on the podcast here soon, and we will probably get a little bit more attention than I am now. But that's what I wanted to drive home to you guys, right? If you're looking at what's going on in the markets, what are the markets to look at? They would be the ones I named. And understanding what's going on in them will allow you to make smarter choices, right? And that might sound very general, but it's true. People buy silver and gold every day. And there might be people in the comments that go, it's worthless. It's not worth anything. They're fools. That might be the case. Everyone's going to have their opinion, or that might be not true, but it does cost something. And understanding why something costs what it does is going to be one of the best things if you are seeking to understand your finances and get educated about your finances, is understanding why something costs what it does. It's about the root of almost every question you'd ask, right? You don't have to believe in gold to understand that it costs $2,300 an ounce or $2,500 an ounce or whatever it is right now. All-time record highs. Same with Bitcoin. You don't have to understand why it costs $62,000 right now, and it cost $73,000 a week ago. You don't have to understand it in order to buy it. Maybe potentially to buy it at the right time, so that you can do so cheaply. But it's all up to you. If I'm speaking in general to most people out there, because I don't know what your personal level of education is on these subjects, and then I try to keep it at a point where I'm speaking to those who are beginners and also to the seasoned veterans, right? There's a lot of guys who are a lot smarter than me, or could be a lot smarter than me. I don't know. They have a lot more money than me, and feel a certain way about certain things. And who am I to say necessarily that they're wrong, right? And I don't expect you all to take what I say on good faith. I know what my personal portfolio looks like, and what I do as an entrepreneur, and what my businesses do, and what my roadmap is. And I'm just trying to share some of that with you guys, hopefully, in order to help you guys do better and do more. And that so it empowers you along your guys' journey. And hopefully I see you at the top, wherever that is for you guys, right? But for me, at least, I hope that any value I bring to you guys at some point, um, you're able to come meet with me in person at some point and tell me that, and show me, either through businesses you guys have established, or um whatever. Hopefully businesses you guys have established and want to bring me on potentially to invest in, if they're within the wheelhouse of things that I would like to invest in. I'm not necessarily at that point where I'm a venture capitalist, but I'm 35 at this point in my life, and I expect to be around for a lot longer. And I have a few different ideas that I believe are revolutionary, Banks coin being one of them. I won't get too far into it because it's patent pending at the moment, but the white coin will be getting released, or the white paper for Banks coin will be getting released this month in April. If that's a no one listening in the live, but to YouTube and those who are listening after the fact, that will be huge. I believe Banks coin will operate and function uh, much like the FDIC does, but for all of Web3. And I won't, like I said, I won't get too far into that, but it'll be a good thing, and I think it'll be beneficial to a lot of retail investors and people involved in the Web3 and who believe in the Web3 and crypto space, and want to see that progress and see where that goes in human history and how that helps and helps us. So um, we're approaching about 17 minutes now, and I'd rather cut this short rather than run it long and be long-winded about it. So if you guys are interested, I would love it if you guys could follow us on um, Instagram at the Millionaire Millennial Podcast, or excuse me, at Millionaire Millennial Podcast, and follow myself at stackbanks.official on Instagram. There's link trees that have all the details with all the YouTube links, um, TikTok, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast, everywhere that you can find the Millionaire Millennial, and on YouTube as well, and YouTube Shorts. The links will be in the descriptions of those Instagrams, or you can find, and you'll find those links down in the description below of this video. But I just wanted to do a special live stream on YouTube specifically, and this will be distributed out to all the downloading and streaming platforms that are out there. But please follow the Millionaire Millennial on them. I am your host, Stack Banks. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys letting me be a part of your world, and I appreciate you guys being a part of mine. I would love any feedback that you guys have for me as far as how to make this show better. At the moment, I am just recording in my apartment. Normally, I do it in the office, or excuse me, we're going to start doing it in the office, and so you'll probably see these videos fewer and fewer. But I just wanted to get on here because I felt very excited about uh, the podcast and the information that I could share with you guys. And hopefully this is of value to you. And I wanted to sort of have a more informal setting where I'm talking to my audience specifically before we start amping up the podcast and bringing on some more of the heavy hitters and CEOs, and I get more or deeper into my personal uh artist as far, or excuse me, my personal journey as far as being an artist and dropping music. And here within the next 2 weeks or so, I'll be traveling down to Vegas and attending a festival and doing some other exciting stuff. So I just want to make sure that before I do all of that and the year starts to get busier and busier, that I focused on helping you as my audience understand at a base level what are the markets when I talk about them, and some of the investor mindsets that go into viewing them. And also, like I said, please follow us. So I'll wrap this show up for now. Once again, I believe this is the most powerful financial podcast in the world. We're probably not the most powerful production value at times, but dollar for dollar, minute to minute, bang for your buck, I believe we are. And I appreciate you guys tuning in wherever you are, and I hope this is of value to you. Good luck out there, you guys. Thanks so much.